So after Halo 2 came out and rocked the world, both figuratively and very literally with that kick-ass soundtrack, wonderful gameplay features that elevated online multiplayer gaming to where it is now, both in a competitive and casual setting, not to mention being the ultimate cautionary tale as to what the world of game development can really be when everything goes wrong, the team has decided, we need a fucking break. Jason Jones, the second head of the two heads of Bungie, went on sabbatical for a good portion of development. And since the first head left the company during Halo 2, that left the studio with a lack of direction for what their next title should be, which, is exactly what happened with the first two Halo games, and I just don't know how we didn't learn this lesson yet. But either way, development got started on their newest title, the third and possibly final game in the Halo series. Halo was never meant to be a trilogy. 2 was supposed to finish the fight, but it had to be cut halfway during development, which was devastating for the team then. But now it gave them a pretty good jumping off point for their next title, and that next title is what many consider to be the ultimate first-person shooter. Halo 3. Alright, cut to the chase. Excuse me? Halo 1 and 2 had some weird shit going on during their developments, and you already started with the whole needing to learn a lesson thing. What happened this time? Oh, nothing really. I knew it! I knew some... Wait, really? Yeah, other than some tension between Bungie and Microsoft, which was a long time coming, but we can go over that some other time. Halo's development was smooth sailing... Well, maybe smoother sailing would be more accurate. But there was no massive, crazy deadlines. Everything got made, tested, and polished before release. They even had time to come up with DLC and make around 4 documentaries based on the game before it even came out. Which, yeah, is kind of odd to think about, till you realize that Microsoft was banking hard on Halo 3. They spent $40 million on the advertisements alone, making all kinds of crazy short films and commercials, with some being extremely iconic even to this day. They wanted the game to appeal to those outside of the Halo faithful, so they had to extend their marketing reach to, reach them. They even did the alternate reality game thing again with something called Iris. But to be honest, not as much information online about this one as the Halo 2 ARG. And I wonder if that has something to do with the complete fucking disaster that happened during it. For real though, I hope this time they were a lot more conscious about where they laid these hints. That hurricane thing had potential to be a real lawsuit. Well, maybe, I'm not really a lawyer, but that's not what I'm here to do. Instead, I'm here to tell you the obvious, and that's that Halo 3 was a massive success at launch, taking the world by storm in ways even Bungie couldn't have imagined, and raking in all of that delicious 2007 money. That's $1,000 today. Saying Halo 3 was a success is pretty much an understatement. The game fucking ruled all of entertainment when it came out, making $130 million in its first 24 hours. Which at the time was way more than any other sort of American entertainment. This shit did better than Star Wars and Titanic. What the fuck? It was even credited by certain publications as the point where video games finally hit the mainstream. Everything about Halo 3 would go on to accept multiple awards. Even the advertisements were getting gold medals. Microsoft's plan was such a success, and Bungie had something so special it would probably end up standing at the pinnacle of multiplayer gaming for decades to come. And all these years later, yeah, it still kinda has. Let's talk about it. The gameplay in Halo 3 is very similar to Halo 2's, essentially taking that game's feel and making it a bit more casual in a sense. The movement isn't as precise, the aiming isn't as snappy, but the bullet magnetism has been increased by a good amount. Basically, they wanted to level the playing field for competitive and casual players. Some of the more competitive crowds were really against these changes, especially the removal of their beloved combos. But the changes made did help to bring a wider audience to Halo, so it would be a while till the controls were more tuned to have a more competitive feel in mind. Personally, I really don't mind these changes, and I only tend to notice them when I play a match of 2, and a match of 3 is queued up directly after. Otherwise, I'm just fine. Though I do wish the BR felt a bit more accurate, but that's more of a gun thing. So hey, let's just start talking about them. In this game, we get the return of the AR, feeling like a tuned-up version of her from Halo CE. The shotgun finally has its stopping power back, which is oh so satisfying. Dual wielding makes its return and is still kinda shit, but hey, they swapped out the needler for this new mini brute shotgun thing, which, you know, I like pretty good as a handheld fuck you in close quarters, and having the needler back to full strength is, you know, cool. I really can't complain about that, though I'm still not really sold on dual wielding. We got a few new grenades, including the spike grenade, which pretty much works, you know, exactly how the sticky does, but it doesn't bounce. So if you throw it and it sticks somewhere, it stays there. It's a more precision type grenade, which is really cool. Then we have the new firebomb, which is the exact opposite. This puppy explodes into a little pool of fire under the enemy's feet, sticking around long enough to catch the whole squad on fire. It's beautiful. But the Bungie devs weren't satisfied there. The players needed more variety, they said. And I don't know which one of these dickheads raised their hand and said, hey, what if we ripped off the turret and carried it like Rambo? But that man needs a raise immediately. This shit is so damn cool. Watching the Chief just rip off a UNSC or Covey turret to just get up close and personal and Swiss cheese a single solitary grunt with what's supposed to be an inaccurate crowd control gun? You can't miss a shot if you're an inch from the target. You know these bullets are expensive. He's just trying to save the UNFC some money, you know? By just breaking their shit. Also, TF2 came out exactly a month after Halo 3, which means 2007 was the year of the heavy gunmen, and I wish my 6-year-old self was more conscious about this, because I was missing out. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. As with this brand new style of weapon, we get 3-timing heavyweight champions stepping back in the ring, the Flamethrower! It's nowhere near as useful as it was in CE. In that game, I'd say this is like a top 3 gun, but in this one, it's just more of a novelty. It's low on ammo, you can't switch weapons with it, but I can't help but love it. And it has a new role as the ultimate weapon against a returning enemy. Though, for real, you and the firebomb have got to be in a modern Halo one day. You guys are just too fun. Oh, and speaking of fun, hello Marines! Excuse me everybody, but I have just a simple question to ask. Have you ever wanted a stronger, more accurate version of the Spanker rocket launcher? No? Well, too bad, Chuckle Nuts, it's here and it's licensed to fuck! The Spartan laser is essentially Master Chief's Kamehameha! You charge it up, aim it, and boom, you're eviscerated. You can't tank this shit, even if you're in an actual tank. It doesn't have the spread damage or the surprise factor of the Spanker, as you know, you gotta charge the thing and everybody can hear the sound and see the little dot, because you know, it's like a little dot. There is some skill and luck required to use this thing, which gives it a fun spot right beside the rockets instead of above them, which I prefer. Give us weapons that fill similar roles, but do it in a unique way. Which brings us to my actual child. The Gravity Hammer. Oh my baby, oh my boy! This is the weapon in Halo. Some people will clown on my boy because it's not as fast as the energy sword, or it's not as reliable, or there's no lunge, or it killed my wife, and it's true. Well, it's like 2 out of 3 true. It can't do those things, or at least to the extent of the sword. But you know what it can do? Everything else. This thing can stop a vehicle in its tracks. It can swing and hit multiple targets. It has the explosive power of a rocket, so it can send things flying. Oh, what else can it do? Oh, they can redirect rockets and grenades. This thing is so much fun for its versatility than some stupid ass sword. It's way cooler. My favorite Halo memory is one where me and my dad were playing around on Avalanche or whatever, and we were both in Hornets. It was a stalemate till I flew above him, jumped out, and slammed my hammer into the Hornet's cockpit, smashing it straight down, and the wings flew up above me. Top 10 coolest things I've ever done, to be honest. Oh, Avalanche is still one of my favorite levels. By the way, why the hell does MCC not have local co-op on PC? Do you know how lame I had to make this whole event look just by doing it myself in Forge? I tried to recreate it in some matches, but no, fucking ugh. Then we have another new element to the gameplay. Equipment. It's alright. It's basically just more tactical weapons, such as a drainer to sap shields and shut down vehicles, regenerator to heal up nearby shields, a bubble so many shield-based things. A bubble shield that keeps everything else out, which makes a great blocker, but also keeps everything in, like bullets and explosives, so, be careful of that. A miniature sun that blinds the player, and a trip mine. I don't feel like I need to explain the trip mine, other than you can throw it and shoot it mid-air, which is badass. The new equipment aren't really all that game-changing, but they add more variety to the combat, and allow the players to get a bit more creative in certain circumstances. I've seen a bubble shield completely turn a game around in the losing team's favor, and not because they used it to shield themselves, but because they threw it on top of the enemy with a rocket launcher and watched him blow himself and everyone trapped in the bubble into a red paste. Jesus, it's cool. And then we have the vehicles. They're about the same as Halo 2, but with some new additions and some substitutions. For one, the original Covenant Warthog has been replaced with a new Brute variant. We got the Chopper, which is awesome as it's basically a chainsaw-wielded behemoth that chops up everything in its path, but if you get behind it, it's vulnerable, so just try to juke it out from fire from behind. We got a mini version of the Warthog known as the Mongoose. Yeah, it's just a mini Warthog. But we also got a flying Warthog known as the Hornet. This thing is just so cool. It's got a chain gun, rocket, space for the boys, top 10 vehicle right here. Don't know why this is the only game it's in. And speaking of one game, the elephant. It's big. That's all it's got, but it is one of the coolest mobile bases ever. And hell, some people even use it like a pirate ship in custom games, so like, hell yeah, this thing needs to come back. There's also new enemy-only vehicles like the Scarab, which is a full-on boss fight whenever one shows up. These are so cool. They're much better than the ones in Halo 2 because you have to cripple them, then climb aboard to blow it up. Or get a vehicle and take it down from the outside. I love this thing. And the anti-air rates, which have multiple cannon rapid fire, but you can't drive it. The Scarab I get, but come on, this would have been so cool. And it shoots green. I love green. The Covenant this time around are pretty much the same as last time, but instead of the elites, we have the brutes taking charge as the commando units, bringing out their savage tactics and their jury-rigged guns and vehicles with them. Love the contrast between the two species, and the brute chieftains wielding the gravity hammers being the new top threat of the Covenant ranks. Oh, I love it. I especially love the honorable mini-boss, you know, the one in that one level. That was so cool, but I totally cheese it every time. He's running at a man with a gun pointing at him. I love the hammer too, bro, but just like the sword elites, that's the worst way to do this. Rockets and grenades, man, just rockets and the grenades. Plasma and bullets, no. The visuals this time around are fantastic. So many breathtaking vistas, beautiful hand-painted scenes, gorgeous architecture. The Covenant vehicles and armor are so cool looking. The Marine bases and capital ships are badass. Sure, things are a little when we get to faces, but that shit's hard in general. I can't blame a 10-plus-year-old game for something like that. The colors are so bright and so vibrant. The skyboxes are so gorgeous. I cannot stress how good this game looks. My favorite part of the documentaries was listening to the graphics team and the level designers just gush about how amazed they were to work with even the most basic elements in this new engine. They were shocked at how well made the realistic flowing water was. And they should be, that stuff was wild back then. It's a lot easier now, thankfully, but they should feel good about themselves. This looks great. Not to mention, the Halo 3 rat. I rest my case. And the music. Oh my god. It's so good. Beautiful. Well, there's no anniversary to really discuss this time, so I guess we'll skip it. I probably should make like a wish list or something, but honestly, just do Halo 2 Anniversary again. Like, literally, that's it. Just do it again. Get you a 3 multiplayer anniversary with like Forge, and you know, you're good. Hell, you're better than good, honestly. Oh, and do ODST while you're at it. Just make it one big combo game with Forge and Firefight Anniversary. Oh, that would be perfect. Or full remake. Just go off and do like an RE4 make or an FF7 remake, and I'm good with that too. We got MCC, the original is here to stay, so go get experimental. Or 3 Anniversary. Either way, I'm good. Please give me more ODST. I'm fucking starving for more of that shit. Oh, I can't wait for that video. Halo 3's multiplayer. It pretty much changed all perceptions of what one can be. We got all the modes from last time with new ones added, but we also got full armor customization added, which is fucking awesome. And MCC made it like 100 times better with all the alternate dimension stuff. We got knight armor, arcade ODST armor, Roman armor, Viking armor. Look at my fucking guy and tell me this isn't the coolest thing you've ever seen. I've low-key written a Norse Halo fanfiction story completely because this design dripped so damn hard. 2,000 subs. 2,000 subs and I'll write it and release it. Fuck yeah! And if you think the customization is only on the armor end, you're dead wrong. Because MCC also added vehicles and guns, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Forge mode and custom games. Literally the lifeblood of all Halos going forward. To the point where it's almost an immediate death sentence on any title that comes out without these at launch. Making and customizing your own levels with Forge and making these crazy ass games like Fat Kid or Infection and custom games, this is where Halo 3 stood above all other multiplayer games. Its file share system pretty much allowed its community to always be in touch with one another, playing all these crazy as hell game modes or doing donuts on their bootleg Mario Kart tracks. That's fucking awesome. This is what makes Halo Halo. It's all so beautiful, and you'll never hear about this level of user interactivity outside of like an MMO or something. But with these features, Halo 3 practically made itself an MMO and an online forum. People make whole ass levels just to like shoot the shit and talk. Like it's some sort of Power Rangers ass juice bar. Fucking Facebook Meta can't get this shit working, but here's Halo 3 doing it on accident. This is a beautiful accident of game design. Bungie should be forever proud of the system they created. And 343 should be proud that they were able to recreate that with MCC on PC and added more options like new weapons, armor, and mods. It makes all of it so fresh. This right here is a level of magic unseen by Halo's competitors, especially at the time. The only games that I can think of that are even close to this is like Minecraft and Roblox, which both of those are practically just game engines when you think about it. And when you think about coding and how it's being added to Infinite's Forge, I'd hazard to guess it won't be long before you see whole damn games made with it. And you have 3 to thank for starting all that. If there was a Nobel Prize-esque medal for this level of creative game design, I can think of a bunch of games that have earned it, and Halo 3 is definitely one of them. Bravo 2007 Bungie, bravo. Honestly, this feels like a good place to stop the video. I mean, we've covered all of Halo 3's masterful achievements. But then again, we're not even halfway through the meat of this game. And you know what that means? It's time for story. Skip here to stay unspoiled for the finale of the original Halo trilogy. It's admittedly got its flaws, but I still think it's something you need to experience for yourself. We start with a scene of what looks to be a shooting star falling towards the planet Earth, with narration from Cortana, saying that she was allowed to pick her guardian and she questions if she ever told Chief why she chose him. As the star crashes, it's revealed to be a stasis-locked Master Chief, who had just escaped from the Forerunner ship that the Prophets rode here to Earth. I'm sure that would have been a cool level, but alright, let's start small, we got a lot to cover. Johnson and his squad locate Chief, believing him to be unconscious, so they take Cortana's chip from his helmet, but...
We're not leaving him here.
Yeah, you're not.
Oh, crazy fool. Why do you always jump? One of these days, you're gonna land on something as stubborn as you are. And I don't do bits and pieces. Where is she, Chief? Where's Cortana?
If you remember, Cortana was left on High Charity to deal with the flood, as she didn't want to risk a remote detonation of the capital ship. But in the post-credits of 2, we see her talking to the Gravemind, hinting that she may have never gotten the chance to eliminate the flood. But before Chief gets a chance to fill in Johnson on Cortana's location, he notices a shimmer in the grove.
Chief, wait! The Arbiter's with us! Come on now. Got enough to worry about without you two trying to kill each other.
Were it so easy.
Yep, the Arbiter and his Swords of Sangheili have joined the Chief in their shared mission against the Covenant. The two sides group up at a nearby Marine base where we see Miranda and Hood discussing a plan to take down the Covenant as they have started a full-scale invasion of Earth, which includes a bit of excavating nearby in New Mombasa. They've found something. 2 things actually, the second being the Marine base, so Chief, Johnson, and Arbiter mount up to beat them back. And as they do, they end up getting a full view of the Covenant's excavation efforts nearby, including watching them open a portal to an unknown location. But that's not all they need to worry about.
Wherever truth went. Sir, new contact slipping in.
What is it? More brutes?
Worse.
A flood-ridden cruiser lands on the planet's surface, unleashing the Horde, including some new mutated variants that can switch from a speed-based form to a power-based form, and even a range-based form at will, making the Flood a much more creative adversary. As Chief and Arbiter fight through the abominations with the swords backing them up, they get what looks to be a distress beacon coming from the cruiser. It's Cortana, or at least a message from her, claiming that the Flood are still kicking here on High Charity, and the key to stopping them is apparently on this arc thing that the dodgeball mentioned last time. Oh, and he's over there, by the way. And he's feeling pretty remorseful for his actions in CE, saying he should have been on Chief's side from the beginning. Yeah, nice to know you figured out genocide is bad only after we took your little super weapon away, bitch. Well, he fixes up the transmission and our crew of heroes band around the Swords Round Table to listen to it, with them disagreeing on what to do next, as Hood wants to stay here and fight the good fight, even reasoning that Cortana may be corrupted, which, judging by those weird-ass vision Chief keeps having, I'm going to say that's not impossible, but Shipmaster sets him straight.
Did you not hear? Your world is doomed. A flood army, a grave mother, has you in its sights. You barely survived a small contamination.
Keyes and Chief believe in this key that Cortana is talking about, and the elites and humans form up to take on what lies beyond the portal. Wait, how did a UNSC ship fit inside of... never mind. On the other side of the portal, they find themselves staring at the Ark, the place where all the rings were constructed and where the Prophet of Truth wants to begin his great journey by hitting the kill switch that will set off all the remaining rings simultaneously. Keyes' group heads down to the structure while the Shipmaster's group stays above to take on the remaining Covenant fleets.
Brute ships, staggered line. Shipmaster, they outnumber us 3-1. Then it is an even fight.
Damn, he is spitting today. Shipmaster solo game win. That is exactly what we need. Chief and crew land on the Ark, with some Marines questioning where in the universe we are, and if you take one look to the sky, you'll see your answer. We are in the center of the universe. I didn't even realize it had one. Chief and crew make their way through the Ark till they make it to a control room, having the monitor start hacking in to see where Truth may be located on the ring. As he's scanning through the data, he seems to go quiet for a second before being snapped out of it by the Chief. Kinda similarly to what Cortana did in the original. I wonder what he found. Well, that can wait, as the Prophet has started to activate the rings, leading RB and the Chief to go after him, only for the flood-infested High Charity to suddenly appear through slip space and touch down on the Ark. The two boys fighting their waves through a Covenant and Flood alike, they finally reach the room right before the Prophet, when the Grave Mind shows up, speaking through the body of a large Flood, making a proposition. That proposition being that the three of them should totally team up and take the Prophet down together! Yay! Yeah, Chief and Arbiter's heard this story before, but they are running out of time since the Brutes got Johnson in the in-between times and are about to activate the rings. Any reason they keep getting the important characters to do this? I'm pretty sure any grunt Marine can be used for this sort of thing. But then Keyes crashes through the window, saving Johnson, but she's unable to pull the trigger to Johnson and then herself to prevent the rings from firing, which, yeah, I get it. And sadly so does she, as Truth shoots her in the back and a brute grabs Johnson, and he's forced to activate the rings. But just then, boom, Chief, Arby, and the Floody boys barge in and make a mess of the place, deactivating the rings and sending Truth on a great journey of his own.
You must be silenced.
But of course, now that the Greater threat is taken out, the Gravemind has no problem immediately hentying up the place, forcing our heroes to make their great escape. Johnson fires up the Pelican and fucking leaves us. The hell, man? After everything we've been through, you're fucking leaving us?
This is it,
That's
baby.
for that one guy on the ring, isn't it? Whore. Well, the boys make their escape in time to witness what caught 343's attention earlier. The Ark has nearly completed its construction on a new ring to replace the one that Chief and Cortana destroyed in CE. The heroes deduce that a misfire from this new ring could be enough to destroy the whole ark, hopefully wiping out all the flood, Gravemind included, so it can't spread anywhere else. Well, judging by the ship we saw land on Earth, I'd hazard to say that the flood may already have reached other worlds, though we don't really know that. What we do know though is that if we want to fire the ring, we're going to need a key. No, not those ones. No, I mean a key as in the index, which if this ring is an exact replica, then the one we know Cortana has should be enough to fire it. With Chief given the go-ahead to scour the city for Cortana, he fights his way through as much gunk and as much infestation as he can, and seriously, it's a lot. The Flood are just as bad as they were in the last 2 games, so, watch out for this level. But he finally makes it to Cortana.
But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late.
You know me. When I make a promise.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
Lucky me.
Sadly, their hellos are interrupted by the Gravemind, who now has telepathy for some reason, and roars in the Chief's head, with Chief now overrun by the Flood as he makes his escape, only being able to get out of here thanks to the help of the Arbiter, wielding a fucking flamethrower against the Horde. The flamethrower is weak as fuck in this game, but against Flood, there is no better weapon. Same way there is no better partner for the Chief. Yeah, get shit on, Johnson! With the Flood now infesting the whole of the Ark, it's time to set our plans into motion. Master Chief, Arbiter, and Cortana land on the new ring, with Rebound Johnson and Sparky Boy joining them soon after, to bust their way in and use the Index to wipe out the Flood. As Johnson makes the preparations, Arbiter and Chief guard the door. As things are about to be set in motion, 343 realizes something.
In just a few more days.
We don't have a few more days.
But a premature firing will destroy the Ark.
Deal with it.
Will destroy this installation. Unacceptable! Unacceptable! Absolutely unacceptable! Protocol dictates action! I see now that helping you was wrong! You are the child of my makers, inheritor of all they left behind. You are Forerunner. But this ring is mine.
Now having to deal with the traitorous orb, Chief grabs Johnson's laser and spikes this bitch into oblivion. Okay, Chief, real talk, these assholes are betraying you left and right. You've got to be less trusting, bro. It's the 3rd game. Well, now that that obstacle's gone, Chief holds Sergeant Johnson, our best friend, our lover, in his arms. Oh, why? He was 1 game away from a girlfriend. No! Also, that's what you get for leaving me behind, asshole. Now sink into the abyss. Seriously, why did they have his corpse just fall off like that? That's just disrespectful. The ring, now being detonated by our hero's antics, leaves the main 3 to hop into a Warthog and have one last run to finish this game out. Dodging debris, explosions, and flood alike, the 3 barely make it to the UNSC ship Johnson parked nearby.
Hang on!
fuck did Johnson drive through this the first time? We cut to a funeral set on Earth where Hood makes a nice speech and makes peace with the elites. Apparently there was a problem with the portal jump and only Arbiter's half of the ship made it to Earth. Hood laments the apparent passing of the Master Chief, but as Arbiter says,
Were it so easy.
We cut to see Chief on the other half of the ship just floating through space. He makes his way to a stasis pod so that he may wait out however long it takes to rescue him and Cortana. But before he goes under, he's sure to let his friend know,
Wake me when you need me.
And that's the end of Halo 3. Unless you got the legendary ending, which shows Chief and Cortana floating towards a strange-looking planet. But that's for another time. The story of Halo 3 is... it's pretty good. What? Wait, let me explain. No! Listen here, Chubby. You say some wild shit from time to 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 time. Okay, I get it, Chucklenuts, but for real, I know! Halo 3 is a masterpiece. There is literally nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, I don't know about all that. The story is included in that as well. It's a masterpiece, no perfect finale for the OG trilogy. It gives a satisfying ending to all the storylines, tying everything into a perfect bow, and not to mention the heartfelt deaths of beloved characters like Miranda, Johnson, or Guilty Spark. And you know, finales are never really as good as the lead up, so I don't really think you can even complain about that, but that's just my opinion. I agree with a lot of what you just said. I agree that 3 is a great note to leave off the trilogy. It's got great stakes, wonderful characters, great action. It's got a lot of what Halo is best at. Kind of like Endgame, you know, as a movie, it's probably not the greatest, but as a finale, it's really good. I think Halo 3's in a similar spot. It's just missing some things that are kind of odd to leave out. Like the grave mine. I mean, sure, we telepathically interact with him, but like you tease this awesome monster to fight in the second game, and I don't get to fight him at all in the third game? Well, we don't even see him in this game. No, the Sugoi tentacles don't count. And Cortana, what's with all that shit with her in this game? We spent a majority of the game without her, which, you know, isn't a huge problem, but the devs specifically said in their interviews they wanted you, the player, to constantly be reminded of how you're missing Cortana. Which, I mean, yeah, I am, but these weird-ass telepathic scenes are weird, and I hate how they take control away from me, which is really ironic, because they made a huge point in those films about how they wanted the player to feel control in the real-time cutscenes. It's a huge point to them. But the thing is, I kind of wish that they did, because this shit got old quick. Though, I guess I did like learning about Cortana's shattered psyche, even though she's fine when you get her back in the final part of the game. Probably should have made the message just be Cortana and have her be a villain in the end. I mean, seriously, you're already clearly setting that up with all the terminals and the constant mentions of her potential to be corrupted. We know it's the Gravemind using the telepathy to send Cortana to Chief. The cutscenes work the same way. Though I will grant them that the flatline comment after the first one was pretty cool. But otherwise, I think these made me miss her a little less. And man, after all that torment, the first thing that happens to her after all the action is done is Chief freezing himself away while they float in an empty ship in the middle of lonely, lifeless, quiet space. No wonder Cortana went crazy later on. You know she ain't doing so hot, big guy. Don't dip out of her now. Then the deaths of most of the characters didn't really feel all that impactful to me. But you know, maybe that's just me. I feel like we barely know who Miranda Keyes is, you know? And having Johnson die was kind of just, I did admittedly feel more sad about him than I did with Miranda, but I've seen you die multiple times. I've killed you multiple times, twice in cutscenes, so I admit I'm still kind of half expecting him to show up out of the blue one day. And Chief just looks at him and goes, "Oh, hey man, what's going on?" Nothing much, I just took a little vacation, lost a little weight, trying out some new color schemes, you know, yeah, I really like the red on you, bro. What the fuck? fuck, dude? What's going on? Because this is like nothing to Johnson. If they really wanted an impactful death to leave the trilogy on, I'd say Cortana would have been the best candidate. It's weird, it takes like 2 more main games for the evil Cortana plotline that was teased in this and 2 to really get started. And even then, I'm half sure it's got nothing to do with the grave miner or whoever this mendicant bias is. Like seriously, if I see another YouTube video about how he's the main villain of Halo 7, I'm gonna scream. They ain't bringing him back, boys, he's just a Cortana parallel. Though admittedly, I've not read the book, so And if you don't know, he's from the terminals, which are found in the Ark levels of this game. The storyline is actually pretty interesting as we watch these 2 Forerunners, the Librarian and the Didact, argue about what to do about the Flood, with Bias being one of the Didact's solutions till it goes rogue after a while due to rampancy. So that plan fails, and now he just kind of stalks Chief and shit-talks Guilty Spark, which is creepy and really funny, to be honest. But I feel like this is mostly just to set up Cortana stuff. Evil Cortana's been a thing since CE's development. They clearly wanted it to happen, but they ran out of time, so they left it on the table for somebody else. Maybe they wanted to keep things, safe for Halo 3. I can think of a few factors that might have had an influence on that decision. Ironically, the one thing that exemplifies my point the most is the Arbiter. You know how I mentioned last time that Arbiter taking up half the campaign was controversial, but later he became beloved? Well, Halo 3 started development during the whole controversial portion because my man has been demoted to background character. The only way to play as him now is with a player 2, which admittedly is pretty cool, but story-wise, my man doesn't get to say or do anything. Johnson has more lines than he does. In the final fight, instead of helping Chief, he's just awkwardly walking in the frame and is like, "Hey guys, is everything okay?" Remember that moment in the story where Hood gets on Shipmaster's case about glassing a quarter of Africa? Shipmaster goes on to say that it was the Arbiter's call, and if not for him, the whole world would be glassed. Which, hey, cool exchange and all, and Shipmaster is a great character, but why didn't Arbiter step in to clarify? I mean, he's not a silent protagonist. He was very well spoken last time, and here he's practically mute. Which is weird, because he's technically has stuff to do. He has this little background arc with Johnson about the Marines and the Elites having to team up and work together. And it worked well as a background thing going on, but why not let Arbiter and Johnson have a level where they see this type of struggle firsthand? There are some parts of the game where Arbiter leaves to go do something, so why not just follow him for a little while? And there's also some parts of the game where he's trying to convince some Covenant troops to stop believing in the Prophet's lies. That would be a fun thing to follow. Or just have him have more to say once in a while. I'm fine with him not having his own plotline, but at least let him emote some more. You get Keith David back to provide them fantastic vocals, and most of it's just death gargles. He's not the silent type like Chief is right now, though their silent mutual respect was pretty nice. They got a cool bond by the end of the game that I really liked. I also liked how this game tied up most of the plot points into a fairly nice little bow on top of a fantastic finale. We're against the Flood on what's basically a super ring, with the return of the OG ring from Halo CE, Arbiter and Chief fighting back to back together against it all. The Covenant is gone, the Flood is gone. All known threats are practically taken care of, and Chief goes back right where he was when this whole thing started. It's a great ending. I just think as a story, maybe the bow had some loose ends that needed some better wrapping. It's an amazing campaign, just probably not the best Halo story. But that's just my opinion, of course. All of this is really just my opinion. You don't have to, agree with me and stuff. That's completely fine. Yeah, I guess that's fair. How would you rank Halo 3, by the way? Oh, it's on the higher end of the tier. Though, I guess I'm really trying not to rank these, you know? Better than 2? Yeah, I guess I like it better than 2. Better than Reach? Well, we'll get there, but yeah, I guess I say I do. Better than 5? Alright, that is a whole conversation that we don't have time for. But that's Halo 3, everybody. A fantastic title worth all of the praise it's garnered over the years. Its visuals are amazing, its gameplay is fantastic, its music is euphoric, and the story is pretty good. If you got like $10 and want to experience something just beautiful, Halo 3 is the game for you. It really has earned its title amongst some of the best games ever made. It's truly an achievement for multiplayer in general. Most new ones that come out today don't come with near the amount of content that Halo 3 did, and that's all down to that beautiful Forge system. You give your community the reins to make all the content for you, and you just supplement it with new updates, your game will last forever. It's a type of lightning in a bottle some would kill to replicate. Also, I don't like Halo 5's story, okay? Don't come at me, alright? We'll talk about it. We'll get there, goddammit, we'll get there!